91.3 Good Times Greatest Hits. Good Monday evening, 5:24 on the clock. How are you doing? Welcome to the Escapade. I'm joined in the studio this evening by two very special guests, veterinarian Dr. Angeline Yang and her husband Dr. Choo, who are the co-founders of Furfolks Homes. It's a palliative care center and medical boarding facility dedicated to providing compassionate end-of-life care for pets, including dogs, cats, and rabbits. So welcome to the show, Angeline and Zheng. How are you guys doing today? Oh, yeah. I'd like to turn on your mic, okay? Thanks for making time to join us this evening. Tell us a little bit more about Furfolks. You guys are a husband and wife team. Tell us more about the home and the kind of services it provides.
Okay, so what we do, we provide nursing care. We provide day hospitalization and overnight hospitalization for animals with special needs or geriatric animals with, more intensive care, but not intensive enough to warrant staying in the hospital. Yeah, so these are the services we provide.
Okay, and how did all this come about? How did you set up Furfolks Home?
So when, I'm not sure if you guys know, we started VetMobile as well. So when we go on call, we see a lot of elderly pets. And then we noticed that a lot of the caregivers are not able to care for them like all the time. So some of them require very intensive care. So like for example, they need to be flipped regularly, or they need water to be given to them regularly, or they need their bladders to be expressed regularly. So then like when COVID went down, the number of cases went down and Singapore opened up, a lot of the caregivers were finding it difficult to go back to work and leaving their pets alone at home. So, there are people with helpers and, family members who can assist, but we have seen people who were unable to find anyone. Yeah.
So you stepped in to bridge the gap.
Then we thought maybe this is a good business idea, but then it's profit-wise, it's not very convincing, for us to bring in people to invest and things like that. So we held it off for a long time, and then somehow we found this place, and we thought, why not? Let's just do it. Yeah.
So where is Furfolks Home situated right now?
1212 Upper Thomson Road.
And that's in a landed property, or?
Yeah, so it's in between Springleaf Park and there's this like Shell station. Yeah, so it's away from the very busy Thomson area. It's towards the Sembawang area. Yeah, so it's like one of those shop houses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a lot of space then for you for the pets to move around and for your helpers and volunteers to move around as well. That's lovely. Incidentally, we're live on Facebook at the moment at facebook.com/1FM913. And if you do have any questions for Dr. Angeline Yang regarding your pets, so you treat all sorts of pets like dogs, cats, birds, rabbits.
I don't really see birds.
You don't see birds?
Yeah,
okay,
but then, I do see stray birds, but, for owner-owned.
So mostly dogs, cats, and rabbits.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got any questions regarding those pets? Okay, WhatsApp us 88550913. And of course, do join us on Facebook. We are going to be chatting a little bit more with Dr. Angeline Yang and finding out more about her wonderful work at Furfolks Home. Come join us there.
Get away from the workday.
Okay, hi everyone. Hi Zheng, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah. So you kind of like help Angeline out on the day-to-day operations. What exactly is your role?
Well, so most of our main activity is doing the mobile house calls, so the home visit. So while Angeline does the vet stuff, I will drive around, and when she is doing, say, the consults, I will help out with typing notes sometimes, preparing sort of back-end stuff to make the whole flow of the appointment much easier.
Yeah. Because she's only got a pair of hands, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And it used to be a case where there was a point where I hadn't actually got a driving license, so she was doing basically everything, and that was not ideal. So she would have to do the appointments and then just drive and do appointments, and she will never type her notes. Then I got my driving license, and it was much better. And now that I can drive, I don't know how she did it at the time. Yeah, so it's sort of the preparatory work that goes behind. So yeah, a big part of the success is just like having things prepared when you need it, and yeah, just supporting basically.
So what are some of the day-to-day operations like at Furfolks Home?
Like a lot of cleaning, a lot of observing, and then finding out the quirks of each animal,
Right.
and what specific way do we have to do things, because for a lot of elderly or special needs animals, I feel like we just have to figure out their behavior and what they like, their routine, and once we get their routine down, things will be much easier. Yeah. So
What's been the most extreme case you've had to handle at Furfolks so far?
extreme.
Or challenging maybe?
I mean, usually, I guess the nurses, what they find challenging is having to lift the heavier dogs.
Because they can get pretty big, right? Like, 50, 60, 70 kgs even, depending on the breed.
Yeah.
So, at night, there's usually a nurse who will stay overnight with the animals. So the treatments are usually done in the day. So at night, they don't have to fuss around too much. They just have to make sure they're all right, doing okay, not having any issues. But then once in a while, they'll roll off the bed. Then they'll have to like slowly lift them and move them back.
How many animals can you accommodate at Furfolks?
We actually talked about this because we were thinking possibly three dogs. What did we say?
Three
Four
dogs.
dogs? Four dogs, three
if
cats
it's
or something like that.
Overnight, 3 dogs, 3 cats.
Right.
I think that's our number.
That's at capacity already.
Yeah, and if it's with day boarding, I think we can have additional 2. That means the day hospitalizations. So they go home at night.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's still quite a small outfit at the moment.
Yeah.
Are you looking to scale up?
No.
And it's not because it's difficult, but we don't want to have overcrowding kind of situation. So I mean, if you own pets or someone own pets, you might have heard like sad stories of their dogs being boarded and then being boarded with a lot of animals. And I mean, being in the industry, we heard some of this, and that's what we really want to avoid.
Right. So you can give that dedicated care and attention
and
to
also
each
prevent
pet.
the spreading of diseases.
Right.
Yeah.
So you must have a very long wait list then, I'm guessing.
Not long, but we need to screen them first.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure that they don't have any infectious diseases, and also they can get along with other animals.
Right.
Yeah, because if they can't, then we might have to leave them in the in the kennel, and then the experience might not be as good.
Okay.
Versus now, they're actually all out in the hall area, and then so they, I think they actually enjoy company.
Okay. Yeah, they don't want to be alone at
Yeah.
this point where they're in pain, I suppose. What can you give us an example of things that you treat over at Furfolks? So dogs and cats that have what kind of situations or conditions or diseases?
I see. I wouldn't say treat, but more like manage them
Okay.
till
Yeah.
their caregivers come back from their holidays or come back from their breaks. Because sometimes the reason why we set this out is because some of this caregiving could be very tiring. Like we have seen caregivers who didn't even have time to go and get a haircut, or like they didn't even dare to step out of the house,
Or they quit the job for like indefinite amount of time.
Right.
So that's I mean, like, as you know, if you ask other human caregivers to human patients, it's exactly the same. And
It's around the clock.
yes, and the worst thing is because these animals cannot talk, so
Yeah.
then they want to do the best for them, and the best could be quite a lot.
Yeah.
So mainly we try to take over some of these responsibilities for a period of time, so that like these caregivers could take a break.
So it's not meant to be long term. Like they
No.
don't go and stay there forever and ever. It's
No.
just like maybe a couple of weeks or 2 months?
maximum about 2 weeks.
Maximum 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, arbitrary, but
So it's
we
just to help
decided.
the pet owners alleviate some of that burden of of
Yes.
duty of being around and watching them
Yeah.
24/7. We were just talking about how pet care leave is starting to make an appearance in some companies here in Singapore. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Why
mean,
not?
we don't have a lot of companies doing it right now.
Yeah.
I think that I was just talking about one company called Brave Communications. She's a pet owner herself, the founder of the company. So she gives her employees like 3 days of parental leave.
Oh.
Yeah, or even 2 days to go and adopt, and then bereavement leave as well. So that's such a compassionate stance to have.
Yeah.
And I think some companies, if I'm not wrong, was it Google that allows pet owners to use their family care leave. As part of the pet leave as well. So that, which makes a lot of sense because so many pet owners treat their pets like babies, right?
Yeah.
They're fur babies. They're not, they're family members and they're not just pets per se. So I think, hopefully there is more awareness for this. Are you like, do you work with volunteers and staff that are pet owners as well? I'm sure it must be a bit of a predicament for them to be away from their pets, or are they allowed to bring their pets to the Furfolks Home, for example?
Okay, so a few of our staff used to be our clients.
Right.
So they actually have experience taking care of very elderly animals,
Right.
or like fostered animals. So then when we started this, they jump on board and they ask, oh, can I volunteer?
That's
or can I work with
amazing.
you?
Okay.
Yeah, so many of them have animals or had animals.
Yeah.
So
We're just going to jump back live on air again for the second part of our on-air interview. So do come and join us there. Send us your questions as well. The Sugar Babes and Push the Button here on 1FM 91.3, Good Times, Greatest Hits. 5:36 on a Monday, the 20th of January. How you doing? In the midst of a very engaging chat with Dr. Angeline Yang. She is a vet and she's here with her husband, Mr. Choo. They are the co-founders of Furfolks Home, which is a pet care center for old and sick pets. And as we were talking earlier, Angeline, this is a home for you to kind of help the owners out when they go away, or to just alleviate the burden and the duty of looking after their pets, their sick pets or old pets 24/7. So it's not meant to be a long-term solution. But what are some of the, at which point is it considered like, okay, it's quite severe. We can bring them to Furfolks for you to look after for a little bit. What would they be suffering from?
Oh, okay. So the animals we have been seeing, they either have like dementia, so they can't stop spinning or they can't stop walking around. So it gets a bit hard for the family members because they are worried that the dog might walk into something
Oh
or hit
dear,
their
I
head.
didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, so dementia is a thing. It happens to cats and dogs.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, or like there are dogs that needs help to stand up, like they can't get up on their own. So there's a need to have someone there. Or we have paraplegic cats, so cats that couldn't stand up because they had injuries, spinal injuries, and then they need to be expressed regularly, or they need help with cleaning them, and
Wow, okay. So you work with a team of volunteers as well. Some of them were your former clients, you say, who have seen your work and believe in your work. I mean, thank you so much for stepping up and filling this gap. I feel like, what you're doing is such a wonderful thing for the pet community because, as you say, sometimes pet owners, I mean, our pets are no longer pets. They are family members. And so they go all out to care for their pets. And sometimes it's a 24/7 thing. They quit their jobs to look after their pets and they don't have a break for themselves. So I'm so glad that you started, you guys have started Furfolks Homes. But it's not a long-term solution. As mentioned, they can only stay for a max of about 2 weeks at the moment. And the intake is really small, about 3 to 4 dogs.
Yeah, and about like three cats
at a time, so that you can give the dedicated attention to these pets to prevent like overcrowding and spreading of disease.
Yes.
So I greatly appreciate that you've taken all these things into consideration, but I can probably imagine a lot of like pet owners going like, is there a wait list? I got a queue, is it? Can you tell us a little bit more about how we can care for our older pets? What are some of the things we should be doing?
Okay, so just like caring for an elderly person, you have to accept the fact that they can change. They might not be the dog or the cat you once had.
I think it's so hard to come to terms with, right?
Yeah, but once you accept that, I think things come easier. Right? I mean, just like caring for an elderly person, you know, if you can't accept that part of it, and then you will constantly try to change them to fit back to where they used to be, and I think that would be difficult. So
and no point getting angry with them as well.
Yes,
or upset.
precisely. Yeah. So a lot of times the elderly animals could have problems controlling their bowels because, sphincters aren't as tight as before. So that's quite normal.
At around what age should we expect that?
It depends.
Okay.
If they have prior injuries, they might get it earlier. But if they don't, then, it might not ever happen. You never know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know a lot of dogs don't really want to soil themselves. They will hold their bladder until they can't.
Yeah.
So that makes me really sad when, sometimes they get blamed for things that they didn't need to
because
do.
they would have had an accident at home and then they get a bit of a scolding and so callous. But actually they're just getting older or they're not well.
Yeah. And especially dogs, they're very well trained. A lot of dogs are very well trained, so they'll try their best not to go to the bathroom.
That's true. That recently happened to my dog. I mean, he had an episode of diarrhea and then he was trying to let me know that he needed to go out, but I was so tired and so out of it that day, and I was just like, okay, I know, like just hang on. You want to go to the other room and be with your sister and your daddy, I understand, but just let me sleep a little bit. And then there was a bit of a mess. But then, so as you say, they are very well trained and they also want to please you, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, what are some of the signs that your pet is very sick or starting to not feel good? What are some signs you should look out for?
Yeah, maybe I'll just state a few general signs. If they're not eating, they're breathing really hard, or they just look really pale, or a change in behavior, that would not be something good. You should go to the vet. I think most vets will be able to help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And don't Google symptoms.
Oh my gosh,
it applies to humans as well. But
I'm dying.
approach a medical professional for you or your pets.
I do appreciate
attention.
some vets. Maybe if they're your regular vet, sometimes you can text the company and they'll actually tell you. Because the other day, my dog, my 5-month-old puppy, she ate one of those like coconut palm seeds. I was freaking out and I was like, is it toxic? Is it not toxic? And all as you say, Google was so mixed in terms of what was and what wasn't, whether or not it's lethal. It's going to be a fatal mistake. And I was freaking out for an entire evening, but thankfully my vet responded and said, just monitor for signs of vomiting or diarrhea. And she was fine. She's still a tiny terror right now. So thank God for that. Is there something that's a bit of a giveaway, like the color of their tongue or their eyes or shaking or warmth in their ears, etc.?
If they're warm on your ears, then possibly fever or inflammation, but that's not very specific.
Okay. Some dogs just run hot.
Yeah. Maybe tongue color and gums color.
Right.
Their gums should be pink. If it ever looks paler than it should be, then that's a sign of anemia.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right, do come and join us on Facebook Live. We're heading over there. If you have any questions, feel free to WhatsApp us, 88550913. If you've got any questions for Dr. Angeline Young regarding your pets, okay, dogs, cats, or rabbits. And of course, we'll see you on Facebook and back with more in just a bit.
Good times. Greatest hits. 1FM 91.3.
And thanks so much for joining us here on Facebook Live. We're chatting with veterinarian. That word is very difficult, veterinarian. Dr. Angeline Young and her husband, Choo, Zheng. They are a tag team who have founded Furfolks Home, which is a home for old and sick pets. Okay, and she also runs what is it? VetMobile.
Yes,
The VetMobile. Tell us a little bit more about got theme song. I like the theme. What is the theme song? So you've been running that for about 8 years now. So what are the kinds of services that you offer as part of the VetMobile service?
VetMobile. So we do like regular stuff like vaccinations and
vaccination. Okay.
Yeah, then I do normal consultation, acupuncture.
What? Wait, what?
Yeah.
How does that work? How does acupuncture on a dog or cat
there are actually
work?
a lot of vets that do it now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So what can you use acupuncture for? What kind of conditions?
Neurological condition that couldn't be operated on. I have to emphasize that it's a supportive treatment. It's not like, you shouldn't use it as a sole treatment.
It's not a cure.
Yes. So I will assess the patient first and see whether they are
Afraid
suitable.
of needles.
Afraid of needles and whether they're suitable. Like certain conditions, they are definitely not suitable for acupuncture. cancerous growth,
Right.
or like something that needs surgery, like a broken leg, you should go get it
Yeah.
not remove, sorry, like
Remove
fixed.
the leg.
Yeah.
No, fixed. Yeah.
Or
So-
infectious disease.
Yeah, or infectious
something which
diseases.
is easily
Yeah.
like resolvable
Yeah.
with conventional medication.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have to stress, it's a supportive care, complementary medicine, but it shouldn't be used by itself. You should get a vet to
Yeah.
assess first.
Okay, but you're the person that can do that. You can
Yeah.
assess, and then you can also apply the acupressure. So where is that applied, on their heads or their bodies, their necks, anywhere?
Usually along their trunk, like their bodies, and
Is that
head as well.
the spine?
Yeah, the spinal area.
Okay.
So I give you an example. We have
Right.
a cat that we see that has gone through checks, and then there's nothing severely wrong with the cat, but then the tail is not able to lift up because possibly there could be an injury.
Okay.
So I'm seeing the cat regularly for acupuncture. So then the tail actually got a
Oh,
bit
wow.
better. But I mean, I can't claim that it's because of this, because it could just be time,
Yeah.
But I just
Or
feel
combination of
yeah,
things,
so,
right?
but I just feel like we just do everything we can,
Okay.
because the important thing is getting the animal back to health.
Wow, that's amazing. I've never heard of like animal acupuncture before. And this, of course, is something you studied.
Yeah.
It's not like any.
No, not anyhow.
Not trial and error.
no, not try and error. That would be scary.
What's the success rate? I mean, I'm quite.
It's very hard to tell. That's
Okay.
why acupuncture or traditional Chinese medicine is one of those things where people are like, oh, are you sure it works, blah, blah, blah. But because it's very hard to study by itself,
Yeah.
because usually you use a variety
Does
of
that mean I
things.
can put goyo on my dog and cat?
Depends on what it is.
Really?
Yeah, I mean you can put warm compress. Yeah. Tiger balm maybe not, because it's quite spicy. It has that tingling sensation.
Oh my goodness.
And then you have to wash it off.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna jump back on air and just wrap up our chat here. Thank you so much. I mean, wow, mind blown. Poof. Acupuncture. Who would have thought, huh? All right, join us on live on air once again. Ashikin is asking about house visits. Yes, she does that too. Ooh. Bon Jovi and In These Arms here on 1FM 91.3, Good Times Greatest Hits. So funny this song should come on, because when you call Dr. Angeline Young, the vet, you will be sure that your pet will be in good arms, in her arms, and her husband's as well, Zheng Hao, who helps her out. So thank you so much, Dr. Angeline Young, for joining us. And Zheng Hao, you are the founders of Furfolks Home, which is a care center for older and sick pets that need some attention in the short term. And you also run a mobile vet service called VetMobile. Dr. Young, can you tell us a little bit more about the acupuncture? We were just talking about this off air, but acupuncture is a treatment form for some pets.
Yeah, so it has been done for a while. So acupuncture, initially in olden days, China, they tried it on horses because people are quite close to their horse. They use them for hunting, for carrying goods and things like that. So they first try it on horses, and then they learn which points to use. By using the points they use on human, then they transpose it to horses, and then from there we do it on dogs, because dogs became man's best friend, and then thereafter now we do for cats, for rabbits, and you can do it for reptiles.
Okay, can you give us some examples which require acupuncture, or a pet could do with acupuncture treatment?
So usually we do acupuncture for dogs with arthritis or cats with arthritis.
Okay.
Or like supportive care for pets with like kidney disease, or like just inappetent and things like that. So some of my clients say that like after the treatment their pets look livelier and they feel better.
Yeah.
So then then it helps make them live a better life.
That's awesome.
But definitely you need to do conventional medicine as well if needed.
It's a more holistic approach, right?
Yeah,
It's one of the things that you would do to kind of help your pet heal or mend.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us how people can access your services, over at Furfolks Home and over at VetMobile?
The best way to find us, Instagram, or you can go on our website, and then there's a form for you to fill in, and then you can fill it up. But if it's urgent, you can just WhatsApp us.
Okay, and that's for VetMobile?
And for Furfolks Home,
Okay.
it's the same number.
What's your number?
9755 2015.
Oh, yeah, I might be the one calling you one day. Do you also take in volunteers? Because, this is such a 24/7 kind of work,
So
your day-to-day.
The thing is, we have a team of staff.
Okay.
We have, including both of us, we have about 17 people.
What? Wow.
The reason being because everyone is like a part-timer, because everyone has like a day job or
Right.
something else they're doing. But usually related to animals. And then we just need a lot of people, because when we have like more animals on board, we do need like at least 2 person per shift. So that's why we need to hire so many people. At the moment, I can't really accept so many volunteers, because we have to make sure that the team is strong and able to teach and train. Yeah. So maybe in the future we'll take on more, but at the moment, one of our volunteers, Ingrid, is helping to look through the application.
Right.
Because initially I was inundated by like the sheer number of volunteers.
Which is such a happy problem if you
Yes,
think
it
about
is.
it. People are wanting to come forward and help you.
Yeah,
So
there's
I
a lot
want
of
to
nice
say,
people
yeah,
out
I'm
there.
very
Yeah.
grateful, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like I just want to tell everyone I'm very grateful, but then I don't have time to sort it all out. So Ingrid came forward. I met her at SPCA. She
Yeah.
came forward and she said, "Oh, I'll do it for you." Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
You're doing such a wonderful work, Dr. Angeline Yang and Zheng. Thank you so much for coming up with this wonderful idea to provide a safe space for our older and sick pets. And for the pet owners as well, who are so devoted and dedicated to looking after their pets who are unwell. So once again, if you need her services, you can find her at Furfolks Home. That's the account on Instagram. And also she runs VetMobile. So this is where you provide house calls for pets who are unwell. Okay. Look them up. What's your number again one more time?
9755 2015.
2015. That is Veterinarian Dr. Angeline Yang. Thank you so much for joining us